Stop separating yourself from yourself. Learn yourself, study yourself, so that you can enforce the Constitution, which is the body. It's this. The Constitution for the United States of North America is a written constitution. However, the divine constitution is your body. It is also the body of the constellation. As above, so below. You're a manifestation of it. So as a man thinketh, so is he. If you think that they have authority over you, guess what? They have authority over you. If you think that they have the power, guess what? They're going to assume the position of power, and you're going to give it to them.
Rothschild discovery.
Absolutely. However, if you study and show yourself approved, and studying isn't just reading the Constitution. Studying isn't just reading the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. Study is applying yourself to it. If you're enforcing the Constitution, then that means you got to be whatever article or whatever amendment in the Constitution. You have to display that. That's the executive power. That's the power to enforce that principle in the Constitution, not just to interpret it and apply it. You also have to enforce it. And that doesn't have to be done by guns. All right? Gun is not the power. Firearms is not the power. That's why we don't necessarily promote it. However, we do exercise our right to keep and bear arms. But we do not promote to brandish the arms because that's not the power. The power is knowledge when it's applied. The power is the knowledge that the person has that has the gun, that shoots the gun. He's the power, not the gun. But the highest power is the pen. The pen is mightier than the sword because it writes history. You want to see the history that this pen wrote? Go on enforcetheconstitution.org. You'll see it. That's the power. The power is also represented by the words that you speak, because the words you speak create your reality. That means you need to know the word that you're speaking, meaning not just the definition, but the etymon of the word, the true meaning of the word. And that's called, that study or that science is called etymology. It's the study of the origin and development of words. So if you don't know what the word or the etymon of the word nice, and somebody tells you have a nice day, and you said thanks, you too, guess what day you're going to have? An ignorant day, even though you didn't know it meant ignorant. So it's no condemnation on anyone other than what you speak out of your mouth. We're not condemning you. If you try to condemn us and we're within the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, then guess what? Justice will take its course because that's the final principle. And you will have the answer to the seed that you sowed. All right? So this is also a plea to the nations per Article 20 of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship of 1836, which I'll quote. The citizens, wait, I can't quote that. I got too much in my head. Hold on. Give me 1 second, because I'm doing this for a reason. Article 20 of the treaty. It reads, if any of the citizens of the United States or any persons under their protection shall have any disputes with each other, the consul shall decide between the parties. And whenever the consul shall require any aid or assistance from our government to enforce his decisions, it shall be immediately granted to him. Article 20 is dealing with chapter 25 of the Holy Quran, of the Moorish Science Temple of America, titled The Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nations, because the person that's speaking in this treaty is the Emperor of Morocco. He was referring to our government, the Moroccan government, also called the Moroccan Empire. When you go to chapter 47 of the Holy Quran, chapter 47, which is titled Egypt, the capital empire of the dominion of Africa. Reading from verse 7, verse 6 and 7. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit Northwest Africa. They were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren who sojourned from the land of Canaan seeking new homes. Their dominion and inhabitation, this is talking about the Moroccan Empire, our government, per Article 20 of the treaty. Their dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa, across the Great Atlantis, even into the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and Atlantis Islands, before the great earthquake which caused the Great Atlantic Ocean. So guess what? Article 20 is talking about the dominion of the Moroccan Empire, our government. So that includes the allies of the Moroccan Empire, or within the Moroccan Empire. This is a plea under consular jurisdiction to enforce the decisions that we have prior made and that we will be making in the future, and will be displayed on enforcetheconstitution.org. This is a plea to our government to give us aid and assistance to help us enforce the decisions made by consul. And with that, I yield, and I want to thank you, Dr. G, for giving us this opportunity to speak the truth. I want to thank you, Brother Kadar, Majesty Kadar Bey, for being with us when speaking the truth. And I want to thank all of the brothers and sisters of our consulate, as well as the brothers and sisters around the world that give your support when you send donations, when you send emails of support, and even the text messages in the text threads. We greatly appreciate you, the energy that you give, your prayers, your thoughts, your inspiration, your motivation, because we're putting that energy right back to you and to everyone else, even the ones that want to hate and want to, like see us fall or whatever. I don't know. We love you all too, because you are all a part of the great plan that Mother Nature has for humanity. So the separation of the wheat from the chaff is being done right now, and we all have the power to choose. So please choose wisely. Nevertheless, you have to choose. And with that, I yield the floor. Thank you. We can't hear you.
We have about 20 minutes. We have about 20 minutes, so we have some comments and questions. And since you said there's nothing is, even the ones that I feel are being disrespectful, but maybe it's just they want to know. This particular question, somebody wants to know, I'll put it up here. I would like to know what head of state appointed you as Consul General. Not me, but them.
Okay, head of state. First of all, what is a state? State is synonymous with status, as well as standing or condition, social position. So when you say what head of state put me as Consul General, that's incorrect. First and foremost, I was voted. Now, I was voted by Brother Kadar, help me out. Who was, because I got a lot of thoughts going in my head right now. Can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now? And you was voted by the Grand Judiciary, who then took a vote and exercised that vote to then appoint you as the head, the general, consul general.
Absolutely. And also, you got to understand that I'm not everyone's consul general. Consul general, first, is an office. It's not me. It's an office. I took office by vote. Prior to me being consul general, or taking the office of consul general, I was exercising consular jurisdiction ever since 2012. All right? And I can't exercise consular jurisdiction over any Moorish American that haven't, one, consented to it, and two, demonstrated the principles of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. So if you are wondering if my position or my office or any one of our offices affects you, it doesn't. So you don't have anything to worry about. But if you are looking to obtain consular jurisdiction or consular assistance, then please be sure to reach out to us at enforcetheconstitution.org. We are looking for principles, and we're not looking for followers. We're looking for equals, because we're not no one's leader.
Let me see what else here. Bring up another comment.
And just really as another side statement for the brother that posed that question, feel free to put in the chat what missionary work and what great work are you doing in support to the uplifting of the movement, for the record.
All right, a lot of people, we're not saying that you're complaining.
Anybody can make a complaint, but if the purpose of the complaint is to give yourself attention that you can bring a remedy, then so be it. Let it happen that way. But if it's just that you're complaining, and then when we're looking for some type of solution and you have nothing to offer, then what is your purpose?
And we're not directing it directly to you.
That's a general statement.
It's general.
That's just a general statement.
A lot of people are complaining about consular jurisdiction while we're actually doing the works. What other remedy are you providing? Because as far as we're concerned, and in accordance with Article 20 and 21 of the treaty, which we can put our finger on, there is no other venue for Moors to settle disputes with citizens of the United States. If you think the venue is their alleged court, then go to it and see what remedy you're going to get. Real simple.
And again, I want it to be known, Dr. G, and everybody on the platform, me posing that question wasn't that I'm in a boxing ring and we coming out the corner swinging. We're here for remedy and solution. That's basically the reason why I'm making the statements. I'm not making it out of emotion or anything. I'm just making it clear on the record. If you have some remedy, then it is your duty and your obligation to share it with your brothers and sisters.
Absolutely.
That's the only reason why I make those statements.
Not to just challenge, just to be challenging. That's worthless babble conversation that we will not give any attention to. Respectfully.
Yeah, here's a question from Walter Alexis. Can habeas corpus be used in the context of the term effects to address property/res of the nom de guerre?
No, because we have nothing to do with the nom de guerre. The nom de guerre is used to denationalize you. The nom de guerre is an instrument of their creation.
They created it.
So the only way it has life is if you give it attention, right? Now, you being present in propria persona on the information of the nom de guerre, then that's you basically presenting yourself in your proper person on the information or ex rel, the nom de guerre, because they're claiming you to be the nom de guerre. However, if you're in propria persona, your position is ex rel or on the information of the nom de guerre. So you don't use just the nom de guerre for habeas corpus. No, you use your free and national name or your appellation. Ex rel, that means on the information of. Ex rel is EX. The second word is relation, or REL, period. That means on the information of the nom de guerre.
Okay. So Reverus is not satisfied with that response. The second follow-up question. So if the grand judiciary voted you in, who gave
here is my question. Where are you actually getting at? Because we're doing the works. We're not pretending. We're not pretending. Go on the website. We're doing the works. Where are you getting at? And how does our position affect you? If you don't want consular jurisdiction, then keep doing what you're doing.
If it's working.
Right. And everybody that calls themselves consul or consul general or whatever, guess what? You ain't that till you do something as consul. You can't be a mechanic and never fix a car. You see what I'm saying? So We're doing the works, and that's a question that has no merit. It doesn't lead to anything, no fruit or anything like that. And I mean that with the utmost respect, brother. However, I explained and I answered the question, and I think you should do further investigation on the Supreme Grand Judiciary. The Supreme Grand Judiciary, just also let you know, is another word for the foreign ministry, or they exercise the powers of foreign ministry. Because think about it. We're here on this land, and we are conducting commerce with colonists. So if I'm of Moorish descent and the person that I'm doing business with is of colonial European descent, right? And European, speaking connotatively because we are the real Europeans. We are the descendants of Europa, all right? Who was the Moabitess queen or Moabitess pharaoh. Then what law would govern the dispute? What law will govern the controversy, the case, or even the transaction? Treaty law, international treaty law, right? So that means there has to be a foreign relation and intercourse between the two people. The foreign relation and intercourse is the treaty, the platform or the venue to settle any dispute in the commercial transaction is called consular court. It's called consular court, or it's simply the consul that decides between the parties. Back in 1956, the United States relinquished their extraterritorial jurisdiction, also called consular jurisdiction, in Morocco. And for everyone, for all my scholars, and for all the people that do research, go to Google and put in Public Law 856, Act of August 1st, 1956, and start at the bottom of page 1. You'll see the relinquishment of consular jurisdiction in Morocco. So that means you're in Morocco, right? Yeah. There is no other way of settling disputes outside of consular jurisdiction. So get off that, or if you want to know more, just send me an email. But we got to move forward.
Here's a question or a comment. We need to challenge, from Tariq, we need to challenge the Southern Poverty Law Center about who we are and our legal status. I do agree with that.
Yeah.
Let's say you.
Absolutely. And when you really do your examination as pertains to Southern Poverty Law Center, you will recognize that it actually is a contributing factor with regards to keeping our people of Asiatic African descent under the black code and that brand status as a stateless person. So clearly, yeah, they're having an agenda also that's assigned to them. And when you sit and think about just even their organization, the Southern Poverty Law Center. So, I mean, you really want to look at, breaking those words down and finding the essence of their meanings. And you'll really look at it, and once you put it together logistically, you'll see that really what the impression that you think you had as it pertains to their operations is not what you think it is in harmony for uplifting and justice.
Absolutely. And it's not coincidental that they're called the Southern Poverty Law Center. When you go to the Black Law, the definition of the Black Code in the Black's Law Dictionary, 5th edition on page 154, you'll see that Black Code is defined, I'll read it again, a name given collectively to the body of laws, statutes, and rules enforced in various southern states prior to 1865, which regulated the institution of slavery. So it's not a coincidence that the organization is called what was it called again?
Southern
Poverty Law Center. So why is the Southern Poverty Law Center doing an interview about something that happened in the North? Think about it. Because they are promoting the Black Code. Real simple.
Okay. This comment says, gosh, did I lose it? I wanted to find it. Okay, I missed it, but I see another comment by the same one. All right. Someone said something about you're going to force the Constitution, but not help Jamal. I don't know whether they have been listening.
Again,
they might have been late.
They must have been coming in on the back end of where we're at.
Well, why don't this interview and then watch it from the beginning?
Save. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. But then you can go back to the beginning of this whole interview segment right here, and you will see that it was clearly discussed for the record. The reason why we even made a press conference with regards to the involvement as pertains to Brother Jamal. So that way that, if you have any concern with regards to that, look at the earlier portion of this segment here, and then your answers will be given to you there.
And also, that wasn't just an attack on Jamal and Rise of the Moors, the members of the Rise of the Moors. That was an attack on every single Moorish American.
Of your status, whether you are competently making the statement as who you are on the record, or if you are someone that is of the quote unquote black status, they're still inflicting the same type of war tactics on us, regardless, because it doesn't matter where you are in your consciousness, your bloodline still cannot be disputed.
And also, know this. What Jamal is going through, and the members of the Rise of the Moors, the 10 members of the Rise of the Moors are going through chapter 1. I went through it. Not saying that I was looking for anybody to save me, no, because I read the Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. It says, if you want to know where your Savior is, look within. His name is self. That's also your devil. Look within. His name is self. So Jamal simply has to look within. He has to study himself. And he also has to stop calling them officers. And this is no disrespect to Jamal. I love and appreciate Jamal and his portion. Nevertheless, principles are principles, and they don't change for anybody, and they're ancient. So we cannot, yes, this is his study. We cannot intervene with anybody's karma if they're clinging to principles such as calling them officers. When you call them officer, you are appointing them in office over your estate. Therefore, they get to tell you what to do right there on the spot. Because you authorized them. You gave them the authority. Remember, the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution are reserved to the people. That's the definition of Republican government, and that's also the 10th Amendment. So if you got the power and you say, officer, you just appointed this individual in office over your state. No different than me contacting you and say, all right, listen, do you want to invoke your treaty right to consular jurisdiction so that I can exercise consular jurisdiction over this venue, over this dispute? You say, yeah, and we draft the document and you consent basically, and you tell the individuals who I am and what my position is. Guess what? That's appointment. So no one necessarily has to be voted in the position of consul. Definitely, yes. Consul general, yes. But consul, no. It's done by appointment because we have a treaty right. That's a treaty right to consular jurisdiction.
Well, the same in this one got another here. You're not. That's not what you said. But I want to put this up here because enforce the Constitution.
Let me explain. Let me explain. So when I was on the phone with the lieutenant, with 2 to 3 lieutenants, between the hours of, what was it? I want to say 3 o'clock in the morning, all the way till maybe around 9. And I was speaking to them about consular notification and access. basically the consular notification requirements that they have to uphold to put themselves in alignment with treaty obligations. None of them argued with me. None of them said that I was wrong. They actually was contacting my phone to speak to me in regards to Jamal. Now, if this was any other case, especially a case in which Amor is dealing with a acting administrative clerk in a venue called the court, and another Moore comes and tries to speak on his behalf, that administrative clerk is going to tell you you can't speak to him. So is the policy enforcer. You can't speak for him. So is the policy enforcer. The policy enforcer is going to tell you you have nothing to do with this incident, so we don't have to talk to you. All three of them talked to me. All three lieutenants talked to me. Now, it wasn't until Jamal announced them as officers so many times, and I tried to let him know, listen, brother, you got to stop calling them officer. The last lieutenant that I spoke with, he was the one that was saying to me, yeah, just tell them, Jamal and everyone else, to come back, just come out the car and step back to us so that we can talk to them. And I said, well, you have to have a search warrant. You don't have a search warrant. You're violating their privacy rights. And they said, no, we don't need a search warrant. Nobody said they didn't need a search warrant. They didn't say it before. Nobody said that because he was calling them officer. That's a study. It's not I'm not condemning Jamal, and I'm not saying that we abandoned Jamal. No, we didn't. It was out of naivety or whatever it was that Jamal called them officer. When you call them officer, you consent to their jurisdiction, their law language, because you put him in office. Otherwise, he's not an officer. Policemen are not officers. There's three offices: judicial, legislative, and executive. Which one of those offices does police come under? None. Where in the constitutional treaty were police departments sanctioned? They're not. They're unconstitutional. They're actually the gangs of New York. They're a religious corporation called Fraternal Order of Police. They are not officers until you call them officer. And thus and therefore, you just adopted their form of government. Their form of government is called democracy, which is not a government. Nowhere in the Constitution was there sanctioned a democracy. Only a Republican form of government per Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution for the United States of America, because those principles allude to slavery. So if you are clinging to those principles by calling them officer, police are, yes, officer, thinking you're being respectful and you're being sincere, but that has nothing to do with respect. There shall be no respect in judgment, only truth. Justice doesn't respect person or station, and justice is the laws of nature. We call her Mother Nature. She wears a blindfold, so whether you know it or not, ignorance of it does not excuse you. However, you can learn from it. Shoot, it took me 5 years. I learned from it in prison, but I also know that. What did it say in the chapter where in the Circle 7, where Jesus was wanting to go in the Decimal Crypts so that he can learn the temptations of men, so that he can know how to succor those in need? And the Hierophant, the high priest, said the highest heights are gained by those that reach the greatest depths, and you shall reach the greatest depths. Guess what? I was settled with that. So I'm going to prison, and I'm going to tell myself, this isn't prison, this is law school, because I was not going to give up jurisdiction at Charles County. The situation at Charles County was somebody forged the signature of the nom de guerre on the public defender while I was at Montgomery County Circuit Court fighting that case. Somebody forged the signature at Charles County Circuit Court, and when I got transferred to Charles County, human traffic to Charles County, I was sitting in the bullpen. They went forward with the hearing, the preliminary hearing, which is the hearing where They weigh the evidence that they have against you, and if it's enough evidence to go to trial, they can take it to trial. If there's no evidence, they dismiss the case. They had no evidence.